walk us through it. What is it that Hoozie is doing for, let's just say, real estate agents? How is it saving them time and saving them money in the process?
So first of all, I don't think the winners are buying the best tools. The winners are creating the best strategy first. And so a lot of our platform, a lot of it has to do with the handholding and touching. We have a community. We do live community calls. We have real estate coaches that sit in on the calls. We do live Q&A every single week. There's a community in the platform. There's a learning center in the platform. So it's not just about the tool. It's about understanding that AI is not a faster horse. It's not a software. It's a completely different animal. And so how do you infuse that into your organization first is one of the founding building blocks that most people don't think about because they just want to get the shortcut, like right to the thing. Like, just give me the tool that saves me 10 minutes or saves me 2 hours. Again, that's not the way to ensure success. It's by having the best foundation. So we do start with that, Mike, if that makes sense, first of all. Secondly, in platform, in order to be a real estate agent or a mortgage professional or title professional, there's certain ingredients that you need for your AI to be able to have access to, control of, or whatever in order to really assist you. So it needs to be able to like ingest all different file types. That includes not just PDFs that if a CC&Rs are recorded 25 years ago, they're not actually a PDF. It's an image of a document stored as a PDF, right? So the system has to be able to like be smart enough to know how to deal with these documents, non-structured documents, CSV files and whatnot. So strategically, we've made sure that the platform can ingest all the different sorts of documentation, ingest different websites, ingest YouTube videos, and then also we've combined the best tech stack in the AI world into one platform. So if you like OpenAI's models, you can have access to GPT-5 and GPT-4 in our platform. If you like Grok, if you like Claude, if you like we have Gemini, we have all the different frontier models in platform. So we're also trying to consolidate agents' tech stack and give a simplified tech experience with the AI platform. So it comes with the handholding. It comes with the ability that the AI is trained in real estate and is also be able to ingest and transform any bit of media or documentation or ideas that you have into a real estate specific sort of outcome for you.
If you've ever felt like you're stuck doing the same repetitive tasks in your business, like following up, data entry, admin work, and you're asking yourself, is this really what I signed up for as an entrepreneur? This is your episode for your wake-up call. My guest today is Eric Post. He's the founder and CEO of Hoozie.ai, a company that helps small business owners and real estate pros automate their operations using smart and practical AI, not just for the hype, but to actually get their time and their money back. You'll also learn how a single social post using Hoozie.ai generated 19 leads in just 45 minutes, and why Eric believes that entrepreneurs who embrace AI as leverage now will win big in the next 12 months. So let's get into it, and let's welcome to the lounge, Eric Post. Eric, how's it going, man?
Here we are, brother. Let's do this.
All right. So, Eric, your companies have generated over $4 billion in combined gross sales. That's massive. So can you break down exactly what ventures contributed to that, and how did you come up with the idea for Hoozie.ai?
Sure, man. You know, my kids are the inspiration for lots of great ideas. And most of the time I make a decision in terms of how am I going to serve my family or my friends or my community. And this particular time I got inspired by my daughter who was having some hard time with doing some math homework. And I was able to use AI to assist me to assist her. And as a father, watching my daughter go from kind of deflated and frustrated because we couldn't find a tutor that could help her, her teachers weren't able to help her with this level of math and whatnot. And me by myself, I couldn't either, but me plus AI was able to. And that was a really special moment when the light bulb went off and I was like, man, that's addicting as hell to be able to empower somebody like that and use this technology to really push the bar up, you know, in your learning and your understanding and your work or whatever you're working on. And I was like, I literally, Mike, I stayed for 3 days afterwards. And I was just like planning and strategizing and talking to AI. And it was the day ChatGPT came out, honestly. And I just could not sleep because I was like, there's this seed here of empowerment that we've never had access to before. And if I could tap into that in a special way, that was the thing I wanted to spend the rest of my working days on, right? I hope this is my last big project. So that's honestly where it came from, buddy, was that day.
And how old is your daughter?
She's now a third year in college. And so she's 20. Yeah. I got smart kids, man. You know, I don't know what happened there, but I got some smart kids. So, you know, they're doing their thing. My son's a first year in college and stuff. So it's fun to watch them grow up. Yeah.
Well, it is cool. So I had a similar situation happen with ChatGPT, where ChatGPT has become now my daughter's math tutor. Sometimes I know the answer, but I can't quite explain how to get the answer. And so I started using it, and I love how it just kind of breaks down line by line. My daughter's 11. She's in the 6th grade. Little different
Awesome.
math,
It's
but
awesome.
there's
Yeah.
some complex stuff happening in 6th grade too.
Dude, it's so cool because like in the platform I built, it's different than ChatGPT where it's just a prompt chat interface, right? So I built this AI powered visual
Yeah.
canvas. So my kids in college, they drag their textbook on the canvas where they can see it. They drag the YouTube videos of the tutorial instructions on there where they can watch. It's all connected to the AI. So they have all this immersive learning experience. They create a persona like live on the canvas. That's their microbiology teacher or whatever it is. So within 15 seconds, they've constructed a perfect co-pilot for their studies in every class and every single assignment, right?
So cool.
So this is the kind of thing that is like really like that's the fuel I need, right? This way, you wake up early, you work late because you're doing something that moves the needle for other people. It started with my kids, but now it's professionals and real estate agents. So that's addicting, brother. That's super addicting. So that's why my whole team is
Yeah,
just focused on that feeling.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the reason why I created the Leverage Lounge podcast. It literally, I know people who are watching this podcast and getting inspiration like, oh man, like that's what I need to scale. And when I get that feedback, that drives me to continue to want to create more podcast
Yeah.
episodes and talk to people like you, man. What are some of the business that you founded and co-founded prior to Hoozie.ai?
A lot of the public things have been in real estate. So 23 years ago, I got my license, started as an agent. And, the first year when the main guy in the office I was looking toward, told me that I was going to be a great agent and I was going to do at least $2 million that first year. And probably 6 to 8 deals and all this kind of stuff. I went back and did the math. I'm like, bro, I can't make a living at this. What are you talking about? And so, before it was even DocuSign or we had Zip forms or anything, I was doing carbon copy deals and, I did 63 deals that first year with carbon copy with no assistant. Right. And so I was able to figure out how to sell lots of real estate. And then from there, I opened brokerages on the real estate side, the mortgage side, land development, home building services, property management. And then also, currently I'm an investor on the board in 6 different startups. A couple of them, we've had some good exits and I've had restaurants and consulting projects. So it's mostly like, I love to build stuff. And so if I can build something that's cool, if it's a subdivision, I'll build that. If it's a business, I'll build that. I write songs. I just like to build things, right? So, and what's cool about AI, man, this is not a technology revolution. I want people to hear me. This is a creativity revolution. And so, people that don't think of them as technical or left brain linear thinkings, that's fine. If you're a right brain creative person, this is the time for you to thrive right now. So we can talk about that too, buddy, if you want.
Absolutely. We're going to dive into that because you've built a platform focused on real world leverage. So let's start here. How can small business owners and agents use AI as their greatest point of leverage to reclaim their time and scale profitably?
So first of all, it's not in prompt engineering, buddy. That's the thing is like learn the prompts and now people have become a prompt middleman. They're just copying and pasting prompts and they're not understanding, well, A, your client can do that too. And where there's no value in that. And B, if you're a middleman, then you're the first to be replaced. So in order to use AI effectively, the way we view it is that you got to start with context first. And so our platform kind of says like, why would you just produce more AI slop? Why would you learn how to be this incredible prompt engineer if you could just use a system that allows you to kind of build like the building blocks of the context so the AI naturally gives you more novel and responses that are baked in experience, not baked in training data. And I think that's the biggest thing. So like real estate agents, man, I mean, you've sold some houses, man. So that if you got a buyer there and they're like, man, I really want to get this house inspected. I was thinking about having my dad, come and check it out. He's bought a couple of houses back in the day. You'd be like, man, you should have a professional home inspector. Like, check this out. You want to protect your asset. You don't going to have your dad or your uncle come in, like hire a professional inspector. And that's kind of the same thing with AI models now. But people need to start understanding there's a crossroads. You either need to use a generic AI model that you become really great at prompt engineering, or you use an AI that's specialized for you. They're already pre-trained with a lot of the information and what that you need, so you don't have to be the prompt engineer all the time. And that's the kind of the crossroads here. And that's what Hoozie, we're focused on the real estate space.
So walk us through it. What is it that Hoozie is doing for, let's just say, real estate agents? How is it saving them time and saving them money in the process?
So first of all, I don't think the winners are buying the best tools. The winners are creating the best strategy first. And so a lot of our platform, a lot of it has to do with the handholding and touching. We have a community. We do live community calls. We have real estate coaches that sit in on the calls. We do live Q&A every single week. There's a community in the platform. There's a learning center in the platform. So it's not just about the tool. It's about understanding that AI is not a faster horse. It's not a software. It's a completely different animal. And so how do you infuse that into your organization first is one of the founding building blocks that most people don't think about because they just want to get the shortcut, like right to the thing. Like, just give me the tool that saves me 10 minutes or saves me 2 hours. Again, that's not the way to ensure success. It's by having the best foundation. So we do start with that, Mike, if that makes sense, first of all. Secondly, in platform, in order to be a real estate agent or a mortgage professional or title professional, there's certain ingredients that you need for your AI to be able to have access to, control of, or whatever in order to really assist you. So it needs to be able to ingest all different file types. That includes not just PDFs that if the CC&Rs are recorded 25 years ago, they're not actually a PDF. It's an image of a document stored as a PDF, right? So the system has to be able to be smart enough to know how to deal with these documents, non-structured documents, CSV files and whatnot. So strategically, we've made sure that the platform can ingest all the different sorts of documentation, ingest different websites, ingest YouTube videos. And then also, we've combined the best tech stack in the AI world into one platform. So if you like OpenAI's models, you can have access to GPT-5 and GPT-4 in our platform. If you like Grok, if you like Claude, we have Gemini, we have all the different frontier models in platform. So we're also trying to consolidate agents' tech stack and give a simplified tech experience with the AI platform. So it comes with the handholding. It comes with the ability that the AI is trained in real estate and is also be able to ingest and transform any bit of media or documentation or ideas that you have into a real estate specific sort of outcome for you.
That's really cool. So it's kind of a marketplace for all of the AI platforms, if you will, and you can just choose whichever one you want to use at any given time. But there's custom GPTs that are already built, regardless of which one you use. That's focused primarily on real estate. Is that
That's exactly right.
Is that about right?
And then the generations are not just text; they are also image. So we do have the best, like ChatGPT image generation is one of the best. Nano Banana is one of the best at imaging. We've got both of those, just baked in the platform. Video generation, we have Kling and VO3 and Sora and all these also in video generation. So it doesn't matter what kind of AI you need. We have that in platform to be able to produce the work or to do the research or get the report made to the client that you need, right? That's one nice thing is that agents don't have to spend all day, every day figuring out what's the best model, how to use it. That's what we pay people to do. Yeah. We find the bleeding edge technology, what's safe, reliable, and we build it into real world use cases for the agents.
Okay. So we don't have to be the one that's trying to research every single new AI widget that comes out. And so I'm using this one. Which one do you use? Oh, I use this one. And it's all these ones that we've never heard of before because we're not AI specialists. But you have a hired team. That's their focus, is making sure they're watching what's out, what's the best, and then should we implement it onto our platform? Is that right?
I literally have one person that's literally his entire job. That's literally all he does all day long. And he's updating me and he writes our newsletter on this. He updates the team. He's working with my engineering team because we also do everything in house. We don't hire things out. We're a safe, secure platform. We're data privacy first. We're getting our SOC 2 type 2 compliance. So when agents are putting their intellectual property or their clients' information into our platform, we care deeply about that. We understand they're a fiduciary and the responsibility here. And lots of AI companies are not paying attention to these sorts of things. And, especially there's high stakes here. And so we are a data privacy and safety and security platform first and foremost, which I think is important for people to really understand. Read those terms and conditions when you're using AI models, please.
People don't read, man.
Dude, I know it's killing me. It's killing. I'm like, do you realize I know you're doing a nice thing for your client. You're just putting their name and address because you're having ChatGPT send you a nice letter, create a nice letter for you. But you literally just put it in, the training data, right? So anyways, it's pretty funny.
Yeah. No, I think it's a very important point because one of my buddies, his dad gotten really sick and they were taking him to doctors. They weren't sure exactly what was going on. And so they were getting his blood checked and all this kind of stuff. And he's pretty savvy with AI, and he ended up uploading it into, the results into ChatGPT, and ultimately, He did that, and they were ultimately ended up being able to save his dad's life because they said, well, maybe it could be this, and brought it to the doctor, and doctor go, oh, you know what? It's wild. That is actually what it is. And but so I asked him, I was like, well, aren't you worried about putting your dad's, medical information up on an AI platform? And he goes, not if it was going to save his life. And it did. And so I'm glad to hear you say that you guys are taking so much pride and consideration on the safety aspect of it because it's important.
Our first kind of big
Yeah.
consulting client was with a big hospital. And for that one reason was how could we take all this data, all this information, and then be able to give it to doctors in a way that they can actually spend some time and synthesize information much faster. It was a great use case, by the way. Yeah.
That's so good. Now, you've been featured in articles highlighting early Hoozie success. Now, one social post reportedly generated 19 leads in under an hour. So walk us through that campaign. What was the setup and how can others replicate it?
Yeah, man, I love that. That's one of our early success stories of like one of our early students, who recognized. So when a lot of coaches are out there teaching real estate agents, here's the prompt that you use to create your 30-day social media marketing strategy, or here's the prompt that you use to do this thing. And dude, I don't know if you've seen the statistics, but since the release of ChatGPT, the amount of content increase online as a result of AI generated content is now up 10,000%. Not 100%, not 500%, not 1,000%. Reddit, social media, Facebook, Instagram, it's over 10,000% now. And they're saying that up to 90% of content posted online by the end of this year is going to be all AI generated. So if you want to pierce through that noise of AI generated slop, then you have to be very intentional with what kind of prompting and what kind of interaction you have with your AI. So this student realized real early on that she wasn't going to use AI to create a prompt and say, act as a social media marketer and create a post that blah, 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 blah. She was able to use the AI to go into the particular keyword that trigger an emotion that elicit a response from the key clients that she was trying to target. Right? So we teach people to step way back before the prompt and figure out how to work with a collaborative, like you have a PhD level psychologist at your desktop. You have a PhD level copywriter at your desktop. You have a PhD level everything now. Finally, I couldn't say that a year ago, buddy, but I can now, especially inside of Hoozie with the best models.
Yeah.
And so because of that, you're able to step back and really outshine any other copy that you can possibly generate if you're actually thoughtful about it. So what she did was she literally did this like NLP research to find the trigger words to sell this listing, and it did generate that many leads in the first 45 minutes. It was exactly what we taught her. She just executed it, right? She didn't have to rethink the wheel. She didn't have to second guess anything, but it was personalized. She didn't follow our system. She followed our thought process. And that's two totally different things. A system can be not personalized, but a thought process you can clearly understand and put in your own business.
So, I mean, that's marketing 101, right? Like, who do you want to help and how do you want to help them? Who are you talking to? And I think you're right. There's a lot of people writing stuff and marketing, but they're not necessarily marketing to any specific person. This is one of the things I talk to my agents about. I'm like, you're not posting social media content that just say, if you're looking to buy a house or sell a house, give me a call.
Yeah.
It's like if you're talking to a crowd of people and just kind of yelling out into the crowd, nobody's really going to pay attention to you. Nobody's listening. But if you call somebody's name in that crowd, they're going to turn around and go, you talking to me? Right. And so how do you get people to know that you're talking to them? And how do you feel like you're calling their name without actually saying their name? I think that's what you're getting at, right?
It is. I think you worded it well. And then on top of that, get yourself out of the way. So there's all these coaches and all these platforms that say, we can teach you how to get the AI to sound and think like you. I'm like, bro, what if you're not effective? What if you're not the top agent in your marketplace? Why do you want it to sound like you? Why don't you want it to make you more effective? And so getting out of the way and getting your ego removed out of this whole thing and trying to be successful is the key. It isn't to have it sound like you.
Yeah. You talk a little bit about this on your podcast. You have the Business Money podcast and you write on the Hoozie blog. How do you design your content to be educational and revenue generating at the same time?
Dude, that's such a great question. There's a difference between designing something for an outcome or a goal. So when I design something or think about something, like the sale should be the natural outcome. It's not what I'm actually constructing everything for. Because if you're constructing it for the sale, people can feel that. Right. And they're like,
Right.
oh, I'm being led down this path and I feel I'm being sold something. But if you constructed things that your offer, your pitch, your social media content, your sales strategy, your listing presentation, if you're doing it to move the client to go, like in the Challenger sale book, to say, oh my gosh, I've never thought about it that way before. Tell me more. If you can get that sort of response, that sort of energy from somebody, the sale will naturally happen because you're putting them in this, in the position of self-discovery. And there's no better form of persuasion than self-discovery. If somebody talks themselves into it, that's where you go. So there's a lot of little nuances, to what I'm talking about. Just to answer your question most directly, is to not try and that be your objective is to make the sale, that the sale is the outcome of doing a great job that they said, oh my gosh, I've never thought about that way. Tell me more.
That's good. Helping to lead them to self-discovery versus kind of giving them breadcrumbs where they're discovering more about you and your services. Because if they self-identify, they're more likely to make a purchase with you.
Especially in a complex sales like real estate, not as important in simple sales process, but in a complex sales like real estate, absolutely, this is the most powerful way. This is why if you actually understand this, you'll never lose a listing appointment, right? Like you'll never lose a buyer presentation if you understand this, because you're not competing on marketing plan, commission, and your strategy. You're competing on thought. And buddy, like if anybody hears anything out of me today, is to not worry about the AI powered competitor. It's to really worry and obsess over how are you going to serve an AI powered consumer? That is the ticket. That's the question that everyone should be asking themselves today. Because when everyone has ChatGPT 5 in their pocket, they have a good enough answer available 24/7. It can honestly answer a question about a neighborhood, about a market, about an interest rate, about a clause in a contract better than 90% of the agents out there, I'll tell you. Okay. So that for the first time, consumers have an alternative to our advice, not a competition. And so understanding how to serve the AI powered consumer is really what Hoozie is really focused on, because that to me is a grossly under talked about topic in the industry.
You're so right, man. That's so good. Hey, before we go any further, I want to shout out the team at smarthireva.com, today's episode sponsor. If you're still manually handling follow-ups, scheduling, or editing your own podcast instead of hosting it, you're not just wasting time, you're actually losing money. Smart Hire VA connects you with fully trained virtual assistants for a fraction of what you would pay locally. It's how I built the systems that power the Leverage Lounge podcast, and it's why I have time to even do this show. So if you want to learn more about how to hire smarter, not just harder, visit smarthireva.com after the episode. All right, back to the show. Let's talk about scaling without bloat, because a lot of entrepreneurs grow, but not everybody scales. So what would you say is the difference? How do you avoid this operational bloat while growing so fast in your industry? Because AI is changing like this. So how do you end up not just getting more and more and more? Like, well, that one's good and that one's good. Well, that one's good too. Let's put them all on here. And then you end up having so much that you're just heavy and overloaded. And quite honestly, you're losing money in the process. How do you make sure that you're managing that?
Yeah. When I was coaching, business coaching in many different industries, most of the time that was a result of the scale not being premeditated. And so all of their moves were one step behind, and they were all Band-Aid moves. And so they weren't getting out in front of either the industry or the market trend or their own business trend. It was a reactionary process. And so if you hire when it's too late, it's going to be a Band-Aid. They're not onboarded. They're not trained right. It's just, and you have this sort of like culture of playing catch up. So premeditation needs to be the thing that people think about first. Secondarily, AI is changing fast. However, there's a lot of things that aren't changing. And I think that there's too much emphasis on this, like, oh my gosh, I got to change all these things. And Jeff Bezos said it best. He said, if you're going to start a business, focus on the things that will still be the same thing in 5 to 10 years from now, not the new latest shining object. And so
Okay.
those problems that our consumers have, focus on those. Maybe AI just happens to be part of the way that you implement it today, but being focused on the AI will definitely lead people with their hair on fire and buying too many tools, a bloated tech stack, and another. I don't need another freaking username and password, bro. I don't know about you, but we've got too many
Yeah.
subscriptions already, right?
Yeah.
So is those two things that the scale has to happen with the intentionality and the strategy. And that often does come with an outside third party, a coach, a mentor, a board of directors, somebody is helping keeping eyes on the things that you have blind spots for. So I would definitely make sure that you're opening yourself up to critiques, to criticisms, to thoughts, to, investigation, to audits, to questions, that allows you to get out of your own way again to be able to serve your client.
Yeah, I think having a coach is important. Like you said, having somebody who's a few chapters ahead. I always like to say somebody who's already seen around the corner and then runs back and say, "Hey, here's what you're going to see when you get up there." Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's helpful, and not enough, especially agents, I think, invest in their business and invest in themselves, and hire that help, they hire that advisor that's going to help them through it. Why do you think that is? Why do you think so many agents see themselves as agents as opposed to business owners?
I think it's even deeper than that, man. Honestly, that's another great insightful question, man. Like, I'll give you an example. So I opened a restaurant in Portland because I was doing some business consulting. I was like, listen, I'm going to show you my clients as a case study and use this as a case study that I'm going to put 250 grand of my own money, open a restaurant, which is a horrible investment, right? With a horrible track record of success to opening a brand new restaurant, especially in Portland, Oregon, right? But I wanted to do it to show that you could do it with no budget in your marketing, and you could do it by creating a unique story, right? And not like opening a restaurant. So I opened that in 2018, like second half of 2018, and then 2020, COVID hit, right? So most people that were running a restaurant thought they were screwed, man, right? And they were screwed because they thought of themselves as a restaurant owner. Behind the scenes, I was introduced to this guy at a Tony Robbins event, like 10 years before that, I think 10 or 15 years before that. And he had opened a chain of car washes, and he purchased a chain of car washes, and he tripled the revenue in the year. And I said, how do you do that? He goes, I'm not in the car wash business. I'm in the self-esteem business. I'm in the business. Doesn't your car feel, but don't you feel better about yourself? And your car is going a little faster and it runs a little better when it's super clean and
Yeah.
detailed. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
And so
Smelling
he
good.
realized he was not in the car wash business. He was in the self-esteem business. So I've used this theme, like that lesson, in all of my businesses. So with a restaurant, it looked like a restaurant, but I was in the business of making people feel better about themselves. It was a food as medicine sort of cafe, really sort of cool thing. So we hit operational, P&L in 45 days. And it was a great little success story because I wasn't in the restaurant business. So when COVID hit, the very next day I said, no problem. Guess what's open still? Grocery stores. Cool. We'll be a grocery store tomorrow. I went and bought some coolers. We prepackaged our food. We just put them in the coolers. People came in and brought prepackaged food, and we were a grocery store in that way, right? Tripled our business. So it's because we weren't in the restaurant business. And so again, I'm just going to give you a long-winded answer to this real estate agent, small business thing. You're not real estate agents. You're not even a small business owner. You're in a different business than that. And it's different for each person. Like, I'll give you another example. As a brokerage owner, I ran a brokerage. We had 5 offices, throughout the Portland metro area here. We were number 1 in each office that we had because I was not in the brokerage business. I was in the state management business with that business. And my agents didn't know this, but me and my partner ran it. We were in the state management business. We want to put agents in a state of productivity instead of procrastination, or optimism instead of pessimism, right? So with every interaction and every class that we did, we were in the state management business. And that's how we recruited the best agents. That's how we killed it in our marketplace. In every metric, we were number 1 because we knew the state management business was the business to be in, not the real estate brokerage business. Make sense?
We got to go deeper on that. I'm trying to wrap my head around what that even looks like. I can understand a restaurant turning into a grocery store overnight, prepackaged. I get that. But let's talk about this state management. How do you approach that differently than you would running a brokerage? What are some of the nuances there?
Yeah. So as an example, and this little tweak had an interaction with Horst Schulze, which is one of the founders of the Ritz-Carlton. Okay. I was speaking at an event with him in Vegas, and in the green room, I had 15 minutes. I was like, man, just tell me, like, so great. You got this amazing culture. Like we were talking about with Disney earlier, right? Like, tell me, your
Yeah.
wisdom here about you create this amazing thing. And he was like, well, we have a policy. We use good best judgment at all times. And he had this wisdom. So I came back with my partner. I'm like, bro, we're going to change this out. So one of the things we did, we took our policy manual and just stripped it down to bare bones. We removed our minimum commission standard. We removed all these policies, and we were like, we're going to empower our people through state management and using good judgment, not by policy. So it was like one very tangible thing that we started to do, right? And guess what? Our average commission went from like 5.1 to 5.6 or whatever by removing our minimum commission standard, right? Sort of thing. And it wasn't minimum commission standard. It was like you had to get approval and little things like that, right? But you see the idea of when you start removing the policies and start engaging in the mindset, the whole business changes. Right. So that was just one of the very tangible things. Our structure of our sales meeting transformed because I wasn't in the real estate brokerage business. We're doing the standard like have, needs, and wants, and here's our statistics or whatever. We would decide what is the state of emotion we want our agents to leave this meeting in, and then the whole meeting was aligned towards that. Right. So everything was just felt differently.
Really
Nobody knew
good.
exactly why. It was just different.
You just reminded me of when I started working at Disney. After my first year and a half or so, I got promoted to become a manager at one of the resort managers. I was actually a concierge manager. But at Disney, we don't call each other managers. We actually call each other leaders. So you're a leader at this place. You're a leader of these people and a leader in this space. And I'll never forget when I was trying to, Disney has its own nomenclature, right? You're not an employee, you're a cast member, you don't go to the back office, you're actually going backstage, that whole thing. And I remember trying to wrap my head around like the culture of Disney, because you're indoctrinated early, you go through Disney traditions and they teach you some of the nomenclature and how Walt Disney was able to manifest this culture that's so rich that people pay thousands and thousands of dollars and save up for years to come experience and go home and talk about it for the rest of their lives. And you realize that you're a torchbearer of that. But I remember I was a concierge at the concierge desk of one of the deluxe resorts, and people used to come in, they would complain about whatever it is, they'd complain. And so the cast members would come back and they'd ask me, hey, we got somebody out here who's complaining. And at first, I used to be the one that would just run out there. Or in my mind, I was like, well, especially if it's our fault, then we try to give them like some kind of credit or something like that. But I remember one of my leaders sat down with me and was like, hey, you don't have to ever fix everything with money. What you got to do is begin empowering the cast members to figure these things out. Empower them to come up with their own solutions. Let them know that, hey, everything is good short of like pushing somebody down the steps, like you have free reign to do a lot to take care of this issue. And just let me know how it goes. And that sense of empowerment, man, where they didn't feel like they had to come to the back office every time to ask me, one, it freed up my time, but it also made them feel even better, and they gave an even higher level of customer service as a result of it. So I can definitely see what you're talking about and how that could play out in business.
Even more so, even now, it's amplified with this AI thing as the lines are blurred between real and what's not real, and source of truth becomes more and more important. Your personal brand becomes more and more important, and that doesn't come by slick marketing. That comes by high emotional intelligence. Right. So the high EQ sort of people are the ones that are winning. And I think this is actually an analog renaissance we're seeing. We're seeing a step back to personal relationships. We're seeing a step away from the 10,000 person database. We're going to drip on our clients over time and realize if we're seeing a 10,000% increase in noise and content creation, then we better actually do personalization at scale and not scale for scale.
Yeah. So, hey, can you share a before and after story from one of your clients? Like something that shows Hoozie.ai's impact in real numbers, like saved hours or more leads, less overhead?
Yeah. Okay. So a marketing department, we recently powered this entire marketing department of this really large firm. And this is the same platform that real estate agents use. Okay. So the way I designed the system is that it's really like a canvas that you can paint your business on. We have templates and we have GPTs that are built and whatnot, but you can design these own workflows in this drag and drop, no code way. It's really simple in their templates, and you can share them with clients and whatnot. And so this marketing team had a process that they were able to get from 6 months down to 3 months for doing a complete rebrand for one of their brands that they actually are in charge of. And with Satori, our online platform, he was able to take it from 3 months to a weekend. Okay. The same process, because it was able to use AI in this workflow that allowed him to go from, I'm talking a large, a private equity firm that is in charge of 16 large brands. It had taken him 6 months. It now took him 3 months. And now this same guy, head of marketing, can now do it in just a weekend. That's a
Wow.
huge lift when somebody starts to understand that. Now, Mike, I want to be careful when I say these sorts of things. It's because he was clear on what he wanted to achieve. And I see a distinct line drawn in the sand between people sitting down in front of AI and they say, well, tell me what this can do for me. They're not going to get it. But if they have a clear mission of something they're trying to achieve, they can now go, oh my God, I now see how I can do this in a lot less time or do it better, right, than before. And so that sitting down to that keyboard with clarity is the first step. If you're just sitting down saying, what can this do for me? Yeah, man, you're going to have tech stack bloat. You're going to have all these subscriptions. You're going to be chasing the shiny thing. Right. So there's a difference between a mercenary that's out to get something out of the industry or get something out of the clients, or a missionary that has some sort of mission and purpose. Those are our clients, honestly, are the people that are purpose driven. So
that's a bar. That's a bar right there, Eric. I like that.
Yeah,
hey,
absolutely,
in your
man.
opinion, what's the most overlooked process in most small businesses that can instantly be automated with AI? Because there's so many things, like you just talked about. There's so many things that we look at AI and go, we kind of kick it and go, what can you do? Make me laugh, clown, right?
Yeah, totally.
What do you do? And so how do we get out of that? What is something that we could instantly automate using AI? And then what would change if businesses actually started doing this?
I'm going to replace the word automate with augment for this conversation. And the reason why I'm doing that, something I call it crunch the can. Like if you have a can here, and imagine that this is your, you get offers on your listings, and ingesting an offer, creating an offer summary, creating the content, the presentation back to your seller, doing the market research to figure out what you need to counter off. Let's say that's an hour-long process, just to make that up, okay? Then that should still be you, but we should be able to take it an hour and crunch it down to 15 minutes. Right?
Okay.
So what we really focus on is how do you augment the things that you do with AI to take an hour task to 15 minutes, 3 hours to 30 minutes, 2 hours to 5 minutes, right? And so you're able to do much deeper and more work than your competitor. And I'm not talking automation. So these are very micro pieces things. So like an example, this offer ingestion, that when you take a listing, there's certain phrases of the listing, right? Or you get an offer, there's a certain phase of the offer. You can take those and map those out and figure out how to take an hour here, 3 hours here, 2 hours here, whatever, and crunch that can down. And now you're able to do 3 times the work. It's not automation, it's augmentation.
Okay.
And that's 2 different strategies. Right? And everyone's talking about, hey, dude, if I was the CEO of Zillow, I would be paying every online coach, every Tom Ferry to teach AI automation to get agents right out of the deal. Right?
Yeah,
that would be the strategy that the CEO of Zillow is doing, by the way. They would be teaching you AI automation, right? Delegate yourself right out of the relationship, right out of the transaction.
Right.
So we teach AI augmentation, which is a completely different mindset.
And are you helping the agents put these systems together? I know you said that there's trainings on how to use each thing, but if I'm a client of Hoozie.ai, am I coming into the platform and saying, okay, here's my vision of what I want my business to look like. Here's who I think that I want to talk to. Here's what I believe that I want to build. Is there somebody do I get like a client success manager that's helping me kind of build out what that stack needs to look like, the things that I need to work on? Or is that a separate coach that I'm hiring and then bringing I need to know what I need, or know what I want when I come to Hoozie?
We do have a few coaches, and we started partnering with coaches because they're a great client for us because they've already galvanized a group of people that are raising their hands, say, hey, I want to do this better, right? And so these coaches are able to use our platform. So we have coaches that are coaching through our platform now, which is cool. Then we also have organizations that we're starting to sign up on. And because we're able to like walk the organization, and I'm talking like a team leader or a brokerage owner or any organization, and figure out how to align the AI, how to anchor the AI in best practices, and then how to amplify across your organization. And we also do that with solo people as well. So we have a kind of a consumption model. You just sign up and it's just use the platform as much as you want. You can join the community calls, and we're rolling out a VIP level like you're talking about too, which is a hand-holding single individual, work with one of our success coaches to be able to build out these templates in your workflows. Yep. And we're rolling that out next month.
Yeah, I think that's smart. I think that's a smart pivot because you mentioned it earlier, but one of the things that we know is that, like, again, most small business owners think of themselves as small business owners. Most agents think of themselves as real estate agents. Maybe they don't have the vision, or they haven't been exposed to the vision that shows them what is even possible. And so it's great that I have all these tools to build a spaceship, but like, I didn't know that I can even do that thing until I saw somebody else do it. Right. So I think that's important. Where do you think this is all going? Like, what are the AI trends that you're watching right now that'll shape the next wave of entrepreneur leverage?
I would like the whole software industry is in shambles right now because most interfaces and CRMs, as just one example, is antiquated, right? Who wants to manage their CRM like they're doing anymore? So what we're doing is I'm essentially seeing a trend for the interface layer. So your AI will be able to interface over the top of email, Zoom, your Gamma presentations, so on and so forth, right? And your AI will be able to coordinate and get the most out of your tech stack consolidated by using one AI as kind of the interface layer. And that's what we're working on. With an individual, you have all these siloed tech stacks. It's hard to get a lot out of those things when they're by themselves. So if we can do an integration layer over it for you, and so like your Zoom automatically comes in, connected to your CRM, that already comes in. Oh, by the way, we're integrating with Crystal Nose, so you got personality profile, disk information on each one of your clients. So the AI is writing hyper personalized content for you, just not like it doesn't sound good, but it really triggers your buttons because it knows your disk profile. That kind of stuff is what we do, man. Right. And that's different than anybody else. And so I think that is a trend to kind of like an interface layer. That's one. Two is we're also finally seeing real world returns for AI, which we hadn't seen before. And MIT just released a study. They said that 95% of pilot programs, AI based pilot programs, are failing, right? And most of them are failing because they don't have the leadership buy-in, and the leadership is looking around like, I don't know what to do either, right? And so they're just like throwing shit at the wall and it's not sticking. So, that thoughtfulness and the leadership. So if you're not getting, providing yourself your own leadership and your brokerage isn't or whatever, then go out, man, and find a company like ours or whatever that can say, no, here's what the technology is good for. Here's your business. 1 and 1 should equal 5. Like we should have an amplification of these things, not just another to-do on your list. So that's really, I think that there's that sort of like move away from like, oh my God, it can do all these things to like, no, let's do some of the non-sexy stuff that pays the bills and then build from that.
Well, I can tell you one thing in my business that I'm focused on right now is leveraging my listings to get more listings. I think there are some agents who do it well, most agents don't. That takes a different level of marketing and intentionality. I'm looking to just really pour rocket fuel on it. I have some great listings that are coming up, some that are already on the market. And so how would this platform be able to help an agent who's looking to kind of double down on what they're doing, maybe leverage what they already have, whether you have, maybe it's an agent who's already working with luxury buyers and they're like, you know what, I kind of have the idea, the mindset of what a luxury buyer is kind of looking for. How can I pour some rocket fuel on what I already have and then leverage that to get more of it?
Yeah. So, each market is a little bit different. I love the personalization of this business because there's not one path to success. I will tell you personally, and I was a high producing agent for a long time and had a small team, and we did things at a different outpace, as an example, I'd sit on these boards and there'd be other agents say, okay, well, we spend, $10,000 a month here and we spend, $30,000 a month on this thing. And I was spending $5,000 in a year on my marketing, right? And it was producing more than they were, because we understood that it's just about having a small staple of really like crazy raving fans. And one of our coaches, he's coaching a client here and he's got 38 people in his database. I'm going to say 38 people, and it resulted in 95 transactions for him out of 38 people, right? This last year. And then he did 114 deals or whatever. But most of them came from these 38 people because he obsessed over creating these raving fans. He didn't have 10,000, right? So it's things like that. So if you have got great listings, so you're going to be able to leverage those let's say if you only have 3 listings, you can leverage it. That's all the marketing that you need is 3 listings. You don't need to talk about anything else, man. You can get all these leads if you do it right. And so inside of Hoozie, you'd feed it your listings, you'd feed it the goal, the AI agent could go research the market. You'd say, I want to tell this kind of story. It's like, and then the AI would say, well, to who? And then you guys would collaborate on creating that together. You're not delegating to AI, like, build me a plan. You are collaborating with our platform. And that's a whole nother level of like expertise.
That's good. You guys go check out Hoozie.ai. I know there's a lot of people who's listening who are like, wait a minute, they're opening up another browser right now to just go check it out. And is there like a demo or anything that they're able to check out, or do you?
There is everything that you see. So, buddy, we've spent 2.5 years like building out the ecosystem to get like here, and we're getting ready to do this whole another relaunch because it's like Frankenstein, right? You start building, and you start like, okay, this sold over here and this over here, and now I've got a very clear path of exactly the ecosystem that's needed here. And so we're doing a complete refactor and rebrand. I hired another senior engineer from Microsoft to help build out this another product for us. And we're going to do a complete relaunch this next month with a brand new website and whatnot. And so a complete pricing structure change. And guys, I'm talking like pricing from like $29 a month to a couple hundred. I'm not out here selling things that are thousands of dollars a month, right? So I'm talking very affordable. I want to democratize access to the best of the best. And I want to do that at scale because our passion, to be perfectly frank, buddy, isn't serving the real estate agent. I want to be clear. It's actually creating a better, more transparent, effective, and efficient experience for the home buyer and seller. That, like, I get really excited about the idea of somebody like getting the new keys, right? And I've opened doors for their new baby and like all this amazing, like really cool lifestyle stuff. That's what me and my team are focused on. We just happen to serve the agent population, be able to do that instead of going right to the consumer. Gotcha. And that's what I meant before about the outcome and whatnot. You know what I mean? The difference between the two. So if I look to see like, how can I make the real estate agent lives better? I'm just going to have a high churn rate. It's just another tool and we're going to get lost in the noise. But if I'm focusing on the consumer having a better like home buying and selling experience, we just happen to serve the agent. It's a wildly different business. So that's the business that we're actually in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Starting with the end in mind. I like that. So Eric, we got time for a little segment that we like to call the lightning round.
Hit me up.
These are quick fire answers. I'm going to ask you some questions. I'm going to ask for some quick fire answers, and you can answer it really succinctly. And then if we need to dive in a little bit deeper on each one, we can do that too. Are you ready for this?
Dude, hit me.
Name an AI tool that you personally can't live without besides Hoozie.
Gamma.ai. We're actually doing an integration with them right now because I love it so much because it's the best presentation, PDF builder, website builder, doc builder. That's AI powered. I love it. I think it's great.
What's the best investment you've made for under $1,000?
This is a wild answer, but it's a kettlebell. Buddy,
okay.
I'm telling you, like, at least the way I'm wired, your mind follows your body. If your body ain't right, your mind ain't right. You know what I mean? If you're polluted with what you're putting in your mouth and what you're putting in your eyes in front of you, and if you're not moving yourself, your mind ain't moving. So, I believe in, like, I have what I call 9 minutes of greatness every morning. I'm doing something for my mind. I'm learning something new, and then I'm doing something for my body every day as well. So the best investment for me is something that I could just freaking get after for a minute to loosen up my body. My psychology and my emotions are directly tied together. So if I free up my physiology, so is my mind, right? So it'd have to be a kettlebell.
The body is in motion, the mind will follow.
That's it, brother.
I like it.
That's it.
All right. What's the most gifted business book that you've told people about that they just have to go and get?
The Challenger Sale. It's been around for a minute. It's my favorite book on sales in general, and every business at the core of it is a sales organization first and foremost. So if you want to understand business, you understand people and sales, those two things. If you don't understand people or sales, you don't understand business, in my opinion. So the Challenger Sale is the best. It's not an opinion-based book. There's science, there's studies, and it breaks down what type of like archetype you need to be in order to perform at a high level, not in the top quartile. It's a fantastic book.
Okay. What's one common bottleneck entrepreneurs need to eliminate this week?
In the email, bro. Spending time on the things that where other people are giving you assignments that are not in alignment with your goals, right? Like your inbox is a nicely organized like to-do list that everybody else has for you. So like the temptation to like knock those things off, but it's also knocking you off of your goals and your directions. So it is like, stay focused hyper on your goals, and then you'll serve everybody else too, man. But trust me, the email can wait.
So how do you go about that? Do you look at your emails maybe just a couple of times a day, first thing in the morning, late at night?
I use a little AI to support myself, here and there, of course, right? So it's a little bit of leverage, but yeah, for sure. I do have an AI, tool that helps me, and you can use Gemini, you can use Fixer, you can use Flyer, you can use Superhuman. I mean, there's lots of great email, tools and assistants that are specifically for that. We're doing integrations with Google here by the end of the year as well. So we'll have that support. But I definitely would say that like it is because it's not because I don't care to respond to people. Is because that I want to be worth waiting for. I don't want to be always just always available. And there's a different mindset if you're always available versus always being worth waiting for. That's how I try to bring enough value that it's so important that it's okay if it's an hour late on the response, it's okay because I'm present when I'm emailing you, right? I'm not just doing it just to check it off real quick. So.
Yeah, man, that's good stuff. You're dropping bars, bro. All right, I got another one for you. What would you do if you had an extra 10 hours per week?
I would be increasing my AI fluency. And I do this 12 hours a day, 6 and 7 days a week. I've done it for 3 years now. And I would say I know as much about AI and the models and whatnot as most people do, as most anybody I've ever talked to, but it's because I'm highly immersive. And so I would spend the 10 hours immersing yourself in a skill set. And that would be like some sort of sales skills, some sort of AI fluency skills, some like an immersive, like hyper-focused specialty. And that's the only way you're going to carve out space in this noisy world, man. So for me, it's AI fluency. I would suggest spend that freaking 10 hours and learn how to communicate and collaborate with AI.
But you have to do that with intentionality. Otherwise, you end up doing kind of what we were talking about before. You're just learning AI, and most of these AI courses are teaching you all these different tools. And if you don't know what you're trying to do with it, then you're just learning AI just because. How do they gain their AI fluency if they don't know what they're supposed to be learning?
Yeah, that's great. So I was presupposition that you knew that you wanted to get in shape, or you wanted to be a better parent, or you wanted to be a better spouse, or you wanted to be better at real estate, right? So when I say my 9 minutes of greatness, I have one board inside of Hoozie where I have all of the best books on leadership, all of the best YouTube videos on relationships, all of the best books that I think on sales skills and whatnot, and I have them grouped, and they're all attached to a unique AI, and they're my board of directors. So every morning I log in and I have a set of skills that I'm working on. And so I'm like, it might be in my health and wellness. It might be in my parenting because I'm a different phase of my parenting going off to college, right, than I was a couple of years ago. So I'm like, what do I need to know in this phase? So I'm constantly like using AI, collaborating in these very specific things. And so it's not just like, hey, I'm going to go chat and make a poem. Now, there are very specific things in my life that are pillars of my life, and you can use it to plan your vacation. You can use it to plan your dates, right? So I use Hoozie to plan my dates and vacations with my family, right? And it's like, I don't have to use anything else anymore because it knows everything about me, has our likes, wishes, and dreams in there, and I just chat with it and goes online, helps me figure out reservations. And so that's what I mean is like the AI fluency is like finding all these things in your life that matter and then collaborating with AI.
Man, it sounds like Hoozie can become your best friend real quick.
It's pretty powerful, bro, when it's not like a chat GPT where it just has memory and you're just chatting with a chatbot. And I'm not putting down chat GPT, by the way. It's a freaking amazing. No. I would be clear about that. We just have a little different thing where like it's not a confirmation bias machine. Everything you put into Hoozie doesn't say, oh my gosh, you have a great idea. Let's explore that further, right? It's not like that. That's devious because they want like time in app matters to them. It doesn't matter to me. right? You're not the product with Hoozie, right?
Right.
So like it's a way different relationship because each board or each conversation you have is not a culmination of all the other things where it kind of becomes your friend. It's a freaking tool, man. And so however you command it is how it's going to work. It's not trying to lead you around. It's just a different experience.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Well, hey man, you are officially off the hot seat. Congratulations. You did a great
Thanks.
job on the lightning round. Made you think a little bit, so that's good.
I like those questions, man. Good job.
Good, good. Thanks. I'll try to make you go dig deep. So on this show, we believe that the great businesses aren't just built with massive leaps, but with focused improvements in the areas that matter most, much like what you've been talking about, being intentional. So what's one 5% tweak, one small but mighty shift that you'd recommend every entrepreneur make today to get more time, more leverage, or more impact?
The most interesting people that people want to do business with, like if you go to a networking event, right, or you walk in an open house, the most interesting people that you want to talk to or you're magnetic towards or you're drawn towards are people that are interested in life, that are interested in the world, right? And so I would spend my time, this 5% tweak is to try to remove these conclusions that you've come to. That's what makes us old, man. We think we know everything, right? We've come to all these conclusions.
Right.
It's that mindset that makes us old. So stay in that playful state of curiosity more than you ever have before. Like I would make that tweak of like, how do I keep myself in a playful state of curiosity as much as possible? And that's when the world opens up, in my opinion.
One of my business partners always says, and we always credit him with this saying, but curious people make more money.
Absolutely, brother. So I'm telling you, I think curiosity, creativity, and resourcefulness are the currencies of the future. Like if you have resourcefulness, curiosity, and creativity, you can use AI to really do anything. Lacking one of those three things, it's going to be, okay, you'll figure it out or whatever, but hone on those three skills and supplement it obviously by your EQ, right? Like your emotional intelligence, people skills,
Right.
but your soft people skills with those other three qualities are the dominant forces it's not tech skills. It's not prompt engineering. It's those things.
Well, Eric, this has been fire, bro.
Let's go.
Fire. For those listening who want to plug into your world, whether they're ready to automate or augment with Hoozie, or just want to soak up your thought leadership, where should they go? Like, what's the next best step for them?
Yeah, go. We have a special running right now. Like we have a special on our base platform right now. It's $300 for the year. $300 purchase what I have right now, right? And it includes almost everything, including some even video generation. So just go to Hoozie.ai, and inside of that, the community have access to me through that. But if anybody has any questions, you can just email me, Eric@Hoozie.ai. I'll respond, maybe not immediately, but I will respond within 24 hours. And you can email me, guys, if you have any questions. I want to support those that want to be supported. I want to be really, really clear. I do have an enemy in the industry, and that is those that just think good's good enough. Mediocrity and apathy are my enemy, honestly. And it's the plague of this industry. And so I don't care about the people that say, well, I don't have time to learn new things, or I don't want to invest in my business, or if it's not cheap, I'm not doing it. Fine. That's just not my people, just to be honest with you. So.
Yeah. Yeah. And your vibe attracts your tribe. So I imagine you have more of the people that you want to have around you than the people that or the people that you don't want to be.
Dude, our investors, our employees, our members, our JV partners, our affiliate partners are just freaking awesome people on top of it, right? We don't have people that are out there just like me. We have people that are very successful, very high level, doing amazing things. And there's also are good freaking people and fun to be around. So yeah, really blessed.
Yeah. Before I let you go, I got to ask you this. The word Hoozie, is that a different language? Is that a combination of words? Did your daughter make that up? Like, what is it?
So I have all sorts of Easter eggs baked in the whole platform. So the online platform is actually called Satori now. That's what we're rebranding to. And Satori, if anybody wants to go look that up, it means enlightenment, awakening, epiphany, a sudden like moment of aha. And that to me, just so you know, our mission statement is actually to awaken creativity and allow people to discover new ways of seeing the world. That's actually what the business that I'm in. right? We're just
Okay.
looking at it like we're selling AI to real estate agents. But I want to awaken creativity and let people discover new ways of seeing the world. That's what we're all about, right? Under the hood.
Okay.
So little things like naming the platform Satori, like the moment of clarity and things like that, a little Easter egg. This logo here, with 3 years ago, I was even like, man, I don't want to get lost in AI. I want to have real wisdom baked into it. Like companies are bringing AI products to their people. They're missing a whole step. They need to infuse the AI, the best practices and the industry expertise first, and then give that to the people, right? So they're missing a whole critical step. So like these little owl wings and Hoozie was meant to like little nod towards nature and natural wisdom. And then Hoozie in some languages in the Middle East actually means like courageous and brave one and things like that. And so and I was also like, hey, Hoozie. And I was thinking maybe we're going to have Hey Hoozie Homes at some point, right? So the alliteration of H was important to me, but Hoozie was also a word I just really resonated with, and that courageous, bold sort of like thing I really liked. So
is that similar to chutzpah?
I would have, I don't know.
I don't
know.
I don't know. I've heard the word before. Guys, don't kill me. I heard the word before. I think it means the same thing. Courageous, whatever. I don't know.
It's like a Jewish, like, hey, you got the thing. You know what I mean? It's like
you got what it takes. You got the cojones, right?
That's exactly right. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, man.
So that's the name, man. And of course, it's got to be cool, right? And it's not just a normal word. So you talked about branding; it's important. Hoozie is just an easy thing to say, and people are like, "What does that mean?" So it's branding too.
That's a fun word. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, hey,
Thanks,
if today's episode made you rethink how you spend your time, do us a favor, hit that like button, smash the subscribe button, follow this channel, and share this episode with at least one entrepreneur or a real estate agent who's doing way too much manually. If you are ready to scale your systems and simplify your life, check out our past episodes at leveragewithmike.com and subscribe on your favorite platform. This is the Leverage Lounge. I'm Mike Collier. And hey, remember, let's scale smarter. We'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.